For a period of over 35 years, a child died there every 2 weeks. That adds up to nearly 800 children. Their remains now discovered in a series of 20 underground chambers under what was a Catholic mother and baby home run by nuns in the west of Ireland. It's believed most of the children died from natural causes or from malnutrition. Well, the discovery came despite several years beforehand the Irish Premier officially apologising for the treatment of 10,000 women and girls incarcerated in Catholic church-run Magdalene laundries. There they were treated as virtual slaves, some still open right up until the 1980s. Well, in Tuam now, though, the Irish government trying to decide what to do with the children's remains, leave them be or give them a proper burial. The final decision due to be revealed in February 2019, a long and painful wait for survivors of the home. Well, France 24's Julie Dungelhoff and Aurore Chloe Dupree revisit Tuam for France 24.
My pants wouldn't be washed for months and months. So if I want to take off my pants, the pants would actually stand up. It was that filthy.
I believe in one Lord, Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, born of the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light.
And I usually tried to cover my head in and then I tried to fall off the sleep. I could with a nice terrible screech. Terrible roar ran up from them and the nuns shouting back and shut up.
I believe in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. I confess one baptism for the forgiveness of sins.
And these nuns inside are supposed to be following God's footstep and supposed to be helping the poor and people that needed help, and just kept closing the door.
And I look forward to the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. Amen.
We accepted it because there was nothing we could do about it. They had the power.
In Ireland, up until the 90s, many children born out of wedlock were brought up in homes financed by the state and run by nuns. Some were fostered out, others never came out alive. In the small town of Tuam, Western Ireland, the remains of hundreds of children were found in a sewage facility underneath the housing estate where used to lie the mother and baby home.
The bodies are just over here now inside. I think this is where they found the tank inside the wall here.
Oh, yes. That area there now where they built house there, didn't they get bones there?
They came across...
were they human bones?
They were human bones, yeah.
On average, one child died every 2 weeks between the 1920s and the 60s. The forgotten angels, they're called, who came back to haunt the Catholic country. Patrick, Joseph and Walter endured 7 years at the home, run by the Bon Secours sisters.
You had the same probably routine every day. There was no love, there was no toys, there was nothing whatsoever. And you were just locked in this big building. And if you looked out as well, the walls were so high that you didn't see anything. It was like a prison, really.
We were reared in such a way that we were told nothing. I don't remember leaving here. I don't remember being brought to a foster home or anything like that.
The religion, the Catholic Church and the state here are all at fault for making life hell on us. Because I remember I used to be called a bastard. That's the name that on us, because being born out of wedlock. When my mother got pregnant, she had to take all the blame for it. She was a sinner because she didn't obey God's commandment that she shouldn't have got pregnant. It was enough to punish the mother, but why punish the child? There was no need of it.
Catherine Corliss used to go to the same school as them, and she always wondered why some of these kids, so skinny and dressed in rags, never made it to the classroom. Decades later, the amateur historian started doing some research at the local cemetery.
This plot here is called an Angels plot. It's where the children of the Tuam families are buried.
Catherine ploughed through hundreds of death certificates, archives, maps, but found no burial records for 796 children.
I met the keeper of the graveyard who has the book that lists everybody who is buried here. The 796 were not in his book, which means they're not buried here. So my next quest then was, where are they buried?
The Irish government eventually carried out scientific tests and confirmed Catherine's theory. Significant quantities of human remains, aged 0 to 3, are located in a mass grave underneath the nun's property.
This little one is 1939. Her name was Annie. She was only 3 months old, and she died of epilepsy. His name is Gerard. He was 1 month old, and he was the son of a domestic, which was put down for them all, and he died of a respiratory infection. A lot of those diseases, they weren't fatal if they were treated on time, and if they got the proper medication and the proper care. I do believe that they could have saved quite a lot more of them.
Amongst the victims, Marion Bridget, a little girl that Peter Moore Ryan has been searching for over the past 3 years, his younger sister. Both of them were born at the home, yet he never knew about her until Catherine Corliss contacted him.
We hope it's not closed, you know.
Peter is heading to Tuzla, the Child and Family Agency. That's where the home's documents were transferred when it closed in 1961. Admissions, adoption, medical records. Peter demands justice, the release of his sister's files. Our cameras are not welcome here.
So this is a surprise.
Oh no, I'm looking for my sister's
In relation to Mary
file.
and Bridget.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see
Yeah.
that, you know, yeah.
And you see, there isn't a file on Mary and Bridget.
Why?
There never was a file on Mary and Bridget.
I was shocked to hear that because I thought everyone in the planet born in this planet should have some record. Like, she's just adamant. But then as I asked the question, why weren't we told this long ago by their barrister to our barrister? And that didn't happen. It looked very false, like, you know.
Peter and the other survivors feel they're up against a wall of silence. Caught in the media frenzy, the government only confirmed the existence of the mass grave in March last year.
It's really important that we acknowledge that these are part of, no doubt, the extraordinarily difficult times that they would have had to endure.
Uneasy words and no action so far. Authorities have yet to decide on what to do with the remains, leave them there, or exhume them and carry out DNA tests. Catherine Corliss, the housewife turned whistleblower, wants those responsible to confess their crime. She found an old map of Tuam issued by local authorities in 1970. That's when she noticed something unholy.
They know there's a burial ground there. They know it well, it's written here, and yet they tell me they know nothing. That was one of the obstacles. The obstacles was to get in to Galway County Council to see their records. It's quite obvious they want to hide this. It's too much, it's too big for them. It's almost like a collaboration between the government and between the nuns.
For her, the investigation should have started 50 years ago, when local boys were seen playing with human skulls. It was a rainy October afternoon ahead of Halloween, a day engraved in the mind of Mary Moriarty. She followed the boys and fell into a pit full of bundles. Stillborn babies, she was told, banned from consecrated grounds.
It was accepted that that's what it was, that it was used by the home for babies who weren't christened. It was about fear that you didn't question the people because it wasn't right. Do you know what I mean? They were the bosses, they ran the schools, they ran the church, and they had a say in everything. And we did nothing about it, but the people within the system didn't do anything about it either.
The power of the church, society turning a blind eye. Why didn't anyone help the children of Tuam?
And would they hit you or kick you or anything?
They hit you across the head.
Would they?
Yeah.
Across the head?
That evening, Peter went to his friend Patrick's, also a home child. He tells him about his fruitless meeting with the government official and his sister's missing files.
And I often did that, and I got sad. My biggest wish today would be if I could find my sister and know where she is this very moment. But I do not know, and somebody knows. It makes me think more now that she's not there in Tuam. She could be beyond in America, sold off, got money for them.
They were evil. Evil, that's why I call them. They weren't doing anything about themselves. They didn't care about the human being, human children, little children like ourselves at that time. They didn't care about it. All they wanted was get money.
Peter went from the nun's grip to a violent adoptive father who forced him to work on a farm at 4 years old.
I'll never understand why some human being would do that to another being. No, I just couldn't, no. And I got belted with the straps. He took off the strap up from his waist, the leather strap with a buckle in it, and leave marks of the buckles and my legs and bum. And he always take off my trousers to do it. Always done that. Yeah, he put me across his knee and whacked me. For what? Nothing. To me, I can't remember how, but I'm just 6 or 7 year old. That being done to, like, you know.
The Tuam home was one of a dozen such institutions in Ireland. Only a few survivors managed to find their biological mothers.
This would be the road my mother would have taken every week for 5.5 years to come out and try and get me out of the home. But the nuns wouldn't allow it. That they told her that he was going to be fostered out. That was very sad for her, because she knew then that she'd probably never see me again.
After years of research, Patrick Joseph finally located his mother in England. She had started a new life in London, got married, and never told anyone about her son in Ireland. One day, he knocked on her door.
I could see it in her that she was so nervous, because she didn't know what I was going to say. So I just went up and I just said, "Hello, Mother." This would be the first picture that was taken of my mother and myself in 1975. So you can see the smile. You know, just be able to hug, even give a kiss on the cheek and everything. It was so wonderful, like, you know. And, you know, you could tell people, "Oh, yeah, I have a real mother, all right. My birth mother is still alive. I've met her."
Like two strangers, Patrick Joseph and his mother got to know each other. But her pregnancy remained a taboo subject. She never told him in what circumstances she got pregnant.
Men had the power, and the woman was always to blame. And I always feel about Adam and Eve. It was the woman that took the apple, like, and gave it to him, so it is her. And it's that way down through life. It's always the woman, and the men always get away.
Patrick Joseph's mother passed away in 2012 at 88 years old, taking her secret to the grave. Like her, some 35,000 women gave birth in such homes.
My mother, she carried that cross right through her life for nothing. So I want an apology, and I want to be able to get it in writing, so I can go back to her grave and read that over her grave to say that you didn't come in any sin and you would have met a beautiful mother. That's what I love to do.
Irish authorities and the Bon Secours sisters have refused to give us an interview. To this day, Patrick Joseph and the other home children are still waiting for the Commission of Investigation to reveal the truth.
For this so-called Catholic country would do the likes of that, and what we call them are angels, which are angels. I could be in there too if I had bad health. I was lucky that I was born a healthy baby.
It's a pardon that the authorities wanted to forget that these children ever existed. So it's horrific. So hopefully they will make amends now, maybe, and do the right thing.
They know damn well what went on. We've got loads of records to prove what they did. living records, yeah. And all they're waiting for us to pass away, yeah, it's gone now. And we have what we want out of them.
France 24's Julie Dunglehoff and Aurore Chloe Dupuis revisiting Tuam for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it and all the previous editions as well on our website at france24.com. That's all for now. More news coming up very shortly. Stay with us.